We're back.
We're back.
Back in action, and
What a week.
it's been an amazing week. And so we thought we'd open with just the idea of compatibility with certain people,
Sure.
right? And how with some people you meet them and all of a sudden there's a connection there. Maybe things in common, maybe just similar mindsets, values. And other people, the way I was explaining it is like you get two magnets, right? Saying it feels like, you can hold a positive and a positive charged end of the magnet together with your hand. You can hold them together for a little bit, but it takes a lot of energy, it feels,
An effort.
and effort. But the moment those magnets can switch back to positive and negative,
They repel, right?
yeah, they'll repel and they'll meet at the appropriate ends.
Right.
And
That's very cool, actually. I like that.
yeah, I feel that's how it is with certain people,
I agree.
right? Because there's some people that we meet, we're constantly, we say it all the time, that we're on the streets talking to people, zapateándola, we say,
Yeah.
right? And some people you just connect with, like our friend that we, Cuban buddy now, that we met a few weeks ago, and we just got together with him the other day, and it felt like we've known the guy forever.
Well, we have a lot of things in common. He's
Yeah.
a businessman. He's trying to expand. He's trying to grow. He's a family man. And that actually, okay, the fact that he's Cuban, like us, like me, okay, there's a bond there, okay? But if you really look at what he stands for and what he believes in, okay, you can extend it through the whole gamut throughout the world.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter where you're from.
No.
It doesn't matter. It's the values, which, like you said, are family.
Right.
A drive to provide something for the world, right?
Yeah.
A positive experience.
Right.
He's in the restaurant business.
Right.
And then there are other people that we meet that for some reason it just seems, and you and I are different. So you connect more with some people, and others I connect more, or sometimes I don't connect with the person that you connect with the same way, right? We're all different.
Right.
And so I, in the past, have tried to make a lot of effort to hold the positive and the positive together, end of the magnet, because I feel, relationships are extremely important, and they are, but it takes a lot of energy and effort. It's like I can reach out to a buddy and say, let's get together for a cup of coffee. Let's do it, yeah. But then it never happens. And if I'm only the one initiating, if I'm the one who's constantly saying, let's get together, because, I miss the camaraderie, the interaction. And there's no, you're not met halfway. That's somebody that maybe it's no longer compatible. You guys are no longer compatible. I don't know. That's just my thought on it. What do you think?
Well, I have so many thoughts on the topic. For example, I'm 30 years older than you,
Yeah.
at least. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're exactly
No, I'm 31. I'm 31 years older than you. So that right there is a 31-year gap.
That's
it's huge.
yeah.
That's number one. So yesterday when we were talking with Phil, you said it's so important on the 1031 exchanges.
Oh,
You
the
said-
other day, yeah.
Yeah, you said it's so important to get this type of information to my generation.
Yeah.
Your generation, you said.
Sure.
Okay.
A lot of them don't know about exchanges and
Right.
IRS codes.
You're absolutely right. A lot of my generation doesn't know about 1031 exchanges either.
Right. It's not only an age thing.
It's not an age thing.
It's a seeking of knowledge thing, maybe.
And being involved, in the investment world, let's say, you'd be surprised. But you're right. Your statement, you're right on it. It's so important to get it out to your generation, because you are the next wave of investors. And I really believe that, Patrick Bet-David says this a lot. Every problem that arises in this world will be resolved by an entrepreneur. Because entrepreneurship is not exclusive to business.
Yeah.
It is the mindset that takes a scientist to discover a cell that is dividing incorrectly, and why is it divided incorrectly, and maybe his entrepreneurial spirit is a spirit of asking questions, and he says, okay, well, let me throw this dye into this cellular structure. Look at that, it destroyed the mitochondria, this and that and whatever. The other day I was reading an article where this scientist was doing a major research, and all of her monkeys got this kind of parasite, okay? And in order to safeguard her scientific study, she had to treat the parasitic infection, okay? And she ended up getting some kind of chemical, I forget the name right now, which, gosh, I wish I remember. And she treated the monkeys with the parasitic infection. But her experiment was on tumors. And it so happens that this chemical that treated the parasites destroyed the tumors in all the monkeys. You tell me.
It's an accidental,
I think that's how penicillin got,
Discovered.
invented also, discovered, yeah. I think he was treating some kind of fungi, but anyway. So
it was a petri dish, right? He accidentally left it over.
Yeah, something like that, and then the penicillin thing grew.
Which saved your aunt's life later on in life.
Which saved my aunt's life. Jesus.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We're all interconnected, people. We really, truly are. We're all in this boat together, and this boat is our world.
Well, yes.
That's it.
I would push back a little bit on the entrepreneurial, what David says, that it's always going to be an entrepreneurial that'll save the world. I don't know if, I think it's a lot of the people are entrepreneurs, but sometimes there's somebody who, because when I think entrepreneurial, we can look up the definition, it's somebody who's still also looking up for a way to, of business. It's a way to like make money.
Right.
But sometimes people do things without that in mind. They're either creative, an artist, just somebody who gives I don't think there's any business tied to that.
Well, I
spirit.
think what he's referring to, I agree with you. What he's referring to, I think it's the mindset of asking questions, being curious.
A curious mind.
A curious mind,
Yeah.
Like, for example, they say that Einstein discovered one of his biggest theories, or the theory of relativity, by thinking in his mind, what would it be like if I rode on top of a light beam or a photon? And he started thinking about that in his mind. Some of these people are so brilliant that they can live certain experiences in their mind, which, blows my mind.
Yeah, it's...
But I have so many ideas on the topic.
They're able to leave the real world
Yes.
somehow.
Yes. For example, getting back to
Connecting with people.
I make it a huge effort to connect with people that are way younger than me. Okay? I try every which way possible to try to connect with the younger crowd. I try to connect with the older crowd too. Like yesterday we went to this restaurant and there was a gentleman there with a walker, and he must have been in his 80s. And there were two gentlemen and two ladies, and the two gentlemen were inside the restaurant. And they were there before me. But when Mom and I came in, they stepped sort of to the side. And when the lady of the restaurant came up, she says, okay, you guys are how many? And I said, well, we're 3. However, they were here first. And so she says, oh, okay, how many are you guys? And they said, well, we're 4. And they got sat before us. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But he turned to me, he's in his 80s, and he said, thank you for your, what's the word that he used? But
Maybe honesty.
amability, or amabilidad. Thank you for your courtesy, something like that. Which, and I said, of course. And as he walked, I saw his watch, and it was a beautiful watch. And I said, hey, I love your watch. And he goes, thank you. And then he turned it, and he says, it's a little beat up, you know? But it was a beautiful connection. He had a big old smile on his face, and he walked away.
It's a nice moment.
Nice moment.
You maybe made his day.
And he made mine.
Yeah.
I'm still talking about the gentleman. So
real quick, it's interesting you say you like to connect with the younger crowd.
I do.
And I want to know why. I like to connect with the older crowd.
Okay. Well, the older crowd may have more experience.
But what is it that you like connecting with the younger crowd?
I like connecting with the younger crowd because
Younger people.
With the younger people because, for example, Jorge is full of energy. Mi cafecito Jorge, full of energy.
Yeah.
Every time I get together with him, I get pumped.
Just a positive guy.
Super positive guy. But the young people, I don't know. I just think that's where the next wave of scientists, engineers, the savers of this world. Okay, that's what I feel it is coming from.
I see hunger in the youth that maybe in the older people isn't there. Hunger and maybe energy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Even though there are some people that are older that still have, this hunger to
Right.
do more.
Right.
But if I were to say what the main differences is, it seems like whether it's Jorge or many people that like that my age, that sometimes you hang out, if I'm getting together with a buddy, I'll say, hey, do you want to join? And it seems that it's because they're trying to accomplish something, and the people that are older seem to have already accomplished that thing and are in a different stage in their life.
Right. I hear you. Let me tell you another thing that I strive to do. I don't want to fall into a pattern. I hate, that's not a good word. I dislike when somebody can potentially discern what my next move is going to be. I want to be able to not be
Predictable.
Right. I don't want to be able to be hung on the wall like a frame and say that's it.
Put in a box. Like
yeah, I want to grow every day. I want to learn something new every day. That's the idea. And you can get that, by the way, from anybody, from whatever age. The other day, my grandson, he's 6 years old, he said something, and I thought, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Something can come from anywhere and spark, a thought, and then you deliver that thought, you sit down, you elaborate it, and God knows what can come from it. But I have been there where I'm trying to hold those magnets together, where I'm trying to see if I can fit in, and it takes a tremendous amount of energy.
Yeah.
And it may not be worth it. You just have to figure it out. You got to balance it out, figure out, is it worth it? Is this...
Right.
Because it's got to be a two-way street, you know?
Yeah, and I just think that it's okay if it's not a relationship that works, you move on. You move on. There's so many other people out there, and it's not that one person is good or bad either. You're just not compatible.
Correct. And then talking about the younger generation, okay, so I'm talking about in their 30s and early 20s, but for example, and everything with you and me revolves around coffee, but Miguelito, mi cafecito also, we got together for a birthday party the other day. I hadn't seen him in a while, but every time I see him, I can pop up too. He's just such a positive guy. Now, this is a guy that came from nothing.
Right.
And now he's driving an Audi, what is it? A beautiful car.
Yeah.
Okay? But the car is not the point. The point is how he has grown and developed over those years to become the person that he is today.
Yep.
so that he could continue. He would be a inspiring story, to say the least.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting in our
And
walks.
and how old is he? Well, how old would
50s?
he's
50s?
No, I think he's 48. Okay.
Early 50s, yeah.
Okay. So he's not that.
He's still young.
Well,
You could do a lot.
I'm gonna say he's young because he's probably gonna watch this.
You could do a lot in the next 30 years, 40 years.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, it's been interesting because we are a product of our relationships. Some people are okay not having a lot of relationships, and they like to be in a certain zone, and that's how they function best, and that's great.
Yeah.
And then, but we tend to gravitate towards people and their stories and where they come from, their background, and connect a lot with that.
Correct.
And so we're constantly in that quest of learning from other people. And when in that process of meeting people, that's when we come across some people that we connect with and others that we don't. And before, like you mentioned to me that an interaction with a particular person, it's always a little bit desagradable. What is that?
Unpleasant.
A little unpleasant, or just or maybe even it's not unpleasant, but it's just it doesn't flow.
No.
And so
I know who you're talking about.
I was telling you the other day, it's okay that you really want that to work. You're hiring the person's services, but you can find somebody else that you maybe flow better with. But one thing that I learned, or not one thing that
I know who you're talking about now. I thought it was somebody else. Yes, you're right.
One thing that I thought was pretty cool that we were sharing with our friend the other day, he was saying, look, even when you find somebody that you flow with and you really have a good connection with, and you're hiring their services, you still have to verify their work. And that came about because basically he was taken advantage of.
Yeah, Antonio.
We have all been in situations like that where because you trust somebody, they end up taking advantage. And the way to protect yourself from that is you always ask for an estimate when you're going to get work done. Always ask for an estimate. Never just say, do the job.
Yeah. Well, it just happened to me. What is it, 6-7 months ago?
Yeah.
But see, he made a comment that it's right on the money. That person loses more in the long run than gains because they took advantage.
Correct.
And the same thing happened with my person.
Yeah.
Because since that was done to me, I've had the need to fix 3 other larger items.
Yeah.
Okay? And I didn't call this guy, and it forced me to look for somebody else.
And you found someone great.
I found someone that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Did the jobs for me.
And that you connect with.
And that I connect with.
And that's the thing. That's the thing is that it's okay that, you know, I've heard different versions of it that, like, sometimes people are in your life for a season.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that's okay.
I think Steve Harvey says that.
Did he?
Yeah, Steve Harvey. They're in there for a season. And then they go away.
And I think when you're younger, it's a little bit naive. Everything is, I got a bunch of friends, I got a this, that. And then I remember Grandpa used to say, and I know you would say it, you know, you can count your true friends in one hand. You know?
Yeah.
The people that are really going to be there for you, you can count them in one hand. 5 fingers. Of course, everybody's different. Some people maybe have 10 fingers worth of friends, you know, I don't know, that are really going to be there in the moment. But, and that's okay, you know? I think a lot of it also has to do with expectations.
Okay.
Because if you expect something of someone, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed.
You're right.
But if you go into a new relationship, friendship, business relationship with somebody, and not have, you know, you obviously they need to provide a service. we were talking, but not have all these expectations. I think you'll be happier. And we were actually talking with our buddy Andrew that today, in this time, in this economy, when you're starting a business, you can't just be good.
Correct.
You said it.
Yeah.
You said you have to be good is a given,
You have to be.
but you also have to be creative.
Yeah.
And what are the businesses that are succeeding in today and connecting with people and doing well? What are they doing different?
Oh my God.
And
There's so many people out there that I look at what they're doing, and it's they've created a huge thing out of nothing.
Can you
Just
share
because
about
they have an idea.
Can you share about that guy that draws?
Yeah, I will. But let me share this one first. There's a guy on the internet that apparently he's excellent in mowing the lawn and clearing sidewalks and stuff like that. So he goes and knocks on people's doors that their houses are a mess. And he says, hey, he's a young man, young kid. He says, hey, would you like me to mow the lawn and make it really pretty and actually clean your sidewalk and the asphalt on the front of your garage? I mean, it's pretty bad. And the guy tells him, I don't have any money. He says, no, I'm going to do it for free. And he does it for free, but he tapes it and he puts it on Instagram and Facebook. And he says, look, if you follow me, it helps me to continue doing this work. And he's got 2 million followers. And every time I see the kid, I put a heart on it.
Let's link it on the description.
I already shared it today on one of them.
Oh, yeah?
Where an older lady came out. And that's the beauty of it. An older lady came out. She doesn't have the means to do it. And she comes out. She was very well dressed. And she says, oh my goodness, I've never had anybody do anything for me for free. And he says, well, I'll do it for free. And he cleans it. You can see the dirt and the junk come out of that because it hasn't been done potentially in years.
Yeah.
Clean like that. And you see it over and over again. Super cool. And
That's just his thing. That's what he does.
He's got a bunch of followers. I'm sure he's doing exceptionally well. I hope that he is if he's not. I hope that he is. I hope that he climbs to the highest levels.
And he will if he continues what he's doing. It's the only option.
He's knocking on door. In fact, when he was doing one of them, a neighbor came out and said, hey, I'm glad that he finally, broke down and get this done because, man, how much are you charging him? And he told the neighbor, no, I'm doing it for free. And he goes, for free? Wow, you sure are a nice guy. It's on the video.
Oh, wow.
And all he asks is that you follow him. Okay?
That's it.
That's it. Give him some love. I hope he ends up with 100 million followers and makes a ton of money.
He will.
Because what he's doing, what is he doing? He's bringing value to people that can't do it. He's picking the ugliest houses and cleaning them for free.
Yeah.
The other guy you're talking about that I'm super impressed with is, and you can do it with talent and no talent. Because, does it take a lot of talent to mow?
Yes.
It does.
If
you have
he's
to know what
leaving
you're
it
doing.
Beautifully,
He's leaving it beautiful.
Then he's good at what he does.
But you can learn that.
You can learn the skill.
But this other guy, he's an artist.
You can learn that too.
Right. Yes, you can.
He's probably spent hours and hours and days and years studying.
And he sits in a subway in New York, and he sits in front of you, and in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, he draws you. And then he says, hey, look, I drew you. And he gives you the picture. And that's another guy that I put a love, a heart on everything. You should see, because what gets me on that instant is the expression of the people.
Right.
Sometimes, they're like this in the subway or, like that. And he gives them that picture and he says, yeah, you can keep it. And they go, oh my God. The big, huge smile from ear to ear. He just changes their life like right there immediately.
Wow.
Gives them a beautiful picture. He's very good.
He's talented.
He's talented.
And that's what we're saying is that being good, there's a lot of people that are good.
You gotta do something different,
What makes you different?
creative.
What separates you?
Like I like Anatoly too. Anatoly is the guy that lifts
Oh
weights,
yeah,
and he goes into the weight rooms and stuff like that, gyms, and he's acting like he's
a
cleaning.
janitor.
Yeah, and then you see these guys lifting with both hands, and he grabs it with one hand, and I put a love on him all the time too. It's just and he's got a bunch of followers. I think that it's so simple,
I know.
right? It's such a simple idea to bring pleasure and joy to someone.
Yeah,
Uh, the art of giving is much better than the art of receiving, and so it's just it's really cool to see.
I agree.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, I think we'll link all those three on the description so people
Okay.
can see them if they haven't. You're the one that introduced me to all those.
Oh yeah.
And no, and then I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add. We can wrap it up, but I just think this is a new thing for me. You know, at this point in my life, I've come to realize this, and I'm still learning.
Oh,
But
so am I.
but I've come to realize this, that with some people, it just, if go with your gut, go with your instinct, and if your instinct is repelling or from this person, don't force it.
Right.
Because in the past I have tried to
Same here.
hold the magnets.
Same here with
Yeah.
friendships that I thought were valuable, and but I found myself being the one reaching out all the time.
Yeah,
When I reached out, I was received with a lot of. It was very nice, and they were very courteous, and so forth and so on. But it was me reaching out all the time.
right.
And I did an experiment many years ago. I used a couple of those folks, and I said, I'm gonna not reach out for the next 2 months and see what happens. Well, to my amazement, nothing happened. Nobody reached out to me.
It was one way.
It was only one way. And then I said, you know what, I'm gonna give it another month, see what happens.
Right.
And in that other month, I did this experiment. I did this 20 years ago, maybe a little longer. And nothing happened. Nobody ever, came back. They were very nice when I always reached out, but they never reached out to me.
Right.
And so I thought, and I didn't feel that magnet thing that I had to keep something together. Every time we got together, everybody
was
enjoyed
pleasant.
themselves. It was
Yeah.
very pleasant. But they never, ever picked up the phone, and called me, or never.
Yeah.
And so there's a guy on.
How do you how do you keep a relationship?
You can't.
You have to. And you never know, sometimes people are going through something in their life and they need their space and time.
I'm still waiting for them to call me after 25 years.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going through something for the whole 25 years.
No, I'm just saying in the short term, you just never know what someone's going through, but in the long term, you saw that it was only one way. Or it turned
It's only
that
one way. There's a guy that's become very famous on. Unfortunately, I'm a lot on social media. You've developed a monster.
Yeah.
You really, I'm a lot. My thing is, I say to myself, "Oh, I'm learning. I'm always learning." But I'm a lot on social media. Every now and then, I really love a good laugh.
Yeah.
And Steve Harvey is just funny as all
he's
get going.
hilarious.
There's a lot of stuff out there that's super funny.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy that. So I need some humor in my life. Like that guy that I was telling you, that he says all Asians, you can tell all Asians apart by their accent.
Mm.
He-
Joe Coy.
oh my
Joe
God,
Coy.
he's so funny. I see that clip
Yeah.
and I never pass it. Whenever that clip comes up, I watch it all over. And then I
Yeah.
go
He's
on.
funny. Joe Coy. Comedian.
Yeah, but there's a guy out there, he's very serious, and he says, hey, look, nunca voy a donde no me invitan. I never go where I'm not invited. And he's got like 3 lines like that. I don't call if I'm not appreciated. I don't call, I don't go if I'm not invited. I don't, and he doesn't, it's not a negative message. At the end, he says,
It's
you
neutral.
gotta, huh?
It's neutral.
It's neutral, but what he says is you gotta value, have some self worth.
Right.
That's what he's saying. If you're hanging around with people that,
Don't appreciate you.
exactly, then maybe you should find
A group that does.
a group that does.
Yeah, I don't think that's negative at all. And also, I think the way you
It's
deliver,
not negative. He
the way
doesn't.
you deliver the message is really important.
Very
Because
important.
if you're like, don't be around, and you're doing it in a way where it's like, don't be around those people, forget them, because some people do that. Oh, the haters and this, but it doesn't sound like he's doing it that way. He's just saying, hey,
There's
find
a
a group that does.
there's a gentleman that comes out with his son, and he tells the son, "Look, son, if you go to the supermarket and you buy a bottle of water, you might pay $1. If you go to a convenience store and you buy a bottle of water, you might pay 2. If you're in a specialty restaurant or whatever, and you go there and you buy a bottle of water, you probably pay 3. If you go somewhere to a hotel in Vegas or something and you want a bottle of water, you're going to pay $10 for that bottle. It's the same bottle and it's the same water, but it's different pricing.
Right.
Why? Because of the location you're in. Where you are, it's a different price because it's appreciated more or something. So he says,
Oh, there's more value where
more
you're
value.
at, maybe?
Yeah, and so he says the same thing goes with people. If you're hanging around with people that don't value you to what you're worth, then maybe you need to change the location. You see? And that's what I'm missing.
No, it's a great message.
It's a good message that he's giving his son, and his son is a little guy. He's got to be like maybe 9 years old, and he's telling him your self-worth means a lot, and so you need to be in a location where they appreciate you as the person
More.
that you are and whatever you have to give at that moment. And so, he's saying, yeah, change your location, and you get more value for yourself.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. That's on social media too, and I follow that guy too. It's very cool.
Cool. But I think let's wrap it up with that.
Okay.
That's a great message.
Yeah, it's a great message. I love it. All
All right.
right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.